Each year, sometime around the 1st of June, everything in a Maine garden gets kicked into extremely high gear. As long as I live, I'll never forget the year we had a killing frost on May 28th, the day after I had transplanted all my tomato plants into the field. Even with freak late frosts, the first weekend in June means all danger is past, and it's time to transplant seedlings into the garden. When I say transplant seedlings, I mean all of them. For several weeks in the early spring, it's hurry up and wait. But once you hit the first weekend in June, you're coming up against maturity dates on the other end of the season. In other words, things need to get into the ground as soon as possible. Before any of this planting can take place, I need to prepare the planting beds.
Ideally, I would have done this before today, because last night we got over an inch of rain. So the soil's really heavy, makes it harder to prep, but there's only so many hours in a day.
If I'm honest with myself, I'd have to confess to being a bit absent-minded. This can translate into some fairly annoying scenarios in the homestead garden. For instance, planting a row of one variety, thinking you've planted all the plants, and switching to another variety, only to finish the second and realize you still have a handful of the first that were never planted. In reality, there are very few instances in which this makes any difference. However, for someone like me who suffers from mild OCD, this type of oversight would irritate me every time I saw it in the garden for the rest of the season. A garden is supposed to be a place of relaxation, rejuvenation, and harmony. The amount of time I spend checking plant labels before planting should tell you how many times I've made this mistake.
First thing I found is a massive rock. Not getting that out of there. I'm just playing next to it.
One of the cool things about gardening is that you're frequently reminded about how much you don't know or see in the world. That phenomenon was on full display on transplanting day this year. I found 5 snakeskins just on the brassicas.
You want to help me put in some signs? Sure. Where'd my pencil go? Oh, there it is.
We're very fortunate in many respects, not least of which that we live within 3 miles of my wife's parents and her sister's family. This is my niece Maeve. Our kids are very close with her, and they spend a lot of time together with their cousin. On transplanting day, Maeve was visiting and wandered into the garden. She expressed genuine interest and astonishment at the amount of things I grow and the work that goes into it. All farmers need in life is for people to recognize the effort that goes into what we do. If I'd had a $100 bill, I might have given it to her. Instead, I put her to work.
It's very windy, very hot, the sun's blazing down, and it's about 1:15. Not the best time to be transplanting, but time is what it is. I only limited time. So I think what's helping is that we got an inch of rain last night, so the ground's pretty soggy. So that helps a little bit, and then I'm going to water these in before I transplant some other things. I've got some rows to prep for some squash, and that'll hopefully give these Brussels sprouts and broccoli and things a chance to get really watered in. So on those rows I just prepped, I'm going to be planting squash seedlings, which are already ready to go. They don't need to be, the rows don't need to be level, or even, I'm not even going to use the bed prep rake on these because I'm just going to put the seedlings in and then mulch them and then cover everything with row cover because I've got the cucumber beetles pretty badly at this location. So I'm going to just leave these, call it good on the prep, and get them planted. One of the things you notice very quickly when you move into a new location for gardening, as we did 3 years ago when we bought this place, is what kind of bugs you do and don't have. So one of the things I'm fortunate about is that I don't have Colorado potato beetle, and I avoid getting them because I plant my potatoes out of sync with their life cycle. So I plant my potatoes much later than everybody that I know. Partially because I don't care about new potatoes. I'm growing all my potatoes for storage, so I can plant them late and get a good crop in the late fall, and I'm very content with that. However, one thing I have always had here immediately, and I don't know where they came from, so there's no garden here or anything, and as far as I know, there's no squash or pumpkin farmers around here. There's farms down the road, big farms that grow potatoes and corn by the mile, but no cucurbits that I know. Anyway, I've got cucumber beetles more than my share. So what I have to do, I've got them on these seedlings already. They're all over my watermelons. I'm gonna have to go through and kind of shake them out, get rid of them off these seedlings. Basically, I just wipe like this, and then you can see them taking off, flying away, hopefully. And then I have to be pretty rough with them, get them out. They're just all over the place. And then I'm going to take the seedlings over and plant them in the rows that I just prepped. But I want to try to get all of the beetles out of the pots before I put them in there, and then I'm going to have to flush them again when I cover them with row cover. So I'm probably not going to get them all, but hopefully I'll get the majority of them. And the reason I'm taking them out is because I'm going to plant certain varieties, and I'm trying to take over just the varieties that I'm planting. And I'm going to make myself a note to next year plant the varieties in the flats that are going to go together, so then I can just take one flat rather than switching flats. This is a waste of time and effort. headed over to the farm to get some row cover. When I was farming commercially, one year I bought I think 1,500 yards of row cover in a single roll. And at that time I was farming with 500-foot rows, no, 300-foot rows, sorry. So I was able to cut that into 5 sections. It's 10 feet wide, or 12 feet wide, I can't remember. I think 12 feet, because I use the low tunnel method, and those are 10 feet, and I want to have a little bit extra to weigh down. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're 12 feet wide, and I've got them 300 feet long, and I still have them. A lot of farmers, commercial farmers who use row cover, actually dispose of it every single year. And row cover is woven plastic fibers. Little tiny fibers are woven together. So it's plastic, and I don't like throwing it away. It's better than chemicals for keeping bugs off. It doesn't solve the problem completely, but it keeps the bugs off things like squash and pumpkins long enough that they can grow through, get mature enough, get healthy enough, be established enough that they can grow through the bug pressure. With things like cucumber beetles, you can use them for potatoes to combat Colorado potato beetle, etc. So anyway, I've got several bags with 300-foot rows of 12-foot row cover over at the farm, and I'm headed over to get it now.
It's time we found a way back home. You lose so many things you love as you grow. I miss the days when I was just a kid. My fear became my shadow, I swear it did. Wherever is your heart, I call home. Wherever is your heart, I call home.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell